Entrapment operation versus instigation, buy bus or sell bus. What are their differences? In today's video, we're going to present the differences between the two, and hopefully all our viewers, our subscribers, including the practitioners on the ground, could be enlightened as to the distinctions between the two. And to clear things out, this video is not intended to point fingers as to who the real culprit was in the recent unfortunate incident involving the Philippine National Police and the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency. And as already shown in the news, the NBI spokesperson have already made a preliminary statement stating among others that both agencies had their share of operational lapses. And to all those who will be taking the board examination, which was unfortunately rescheduled once again, this December 12, 13, 14, 2021. Kapit lang and listen very carefully as this topic might be asked in the board examination. Kung matutuloy. Matutuloy yan. Tiwala lang. Okay, so this is our goal, to enlighten as to the distinctions between entrapment and instigation. One and the only Master Mark Louis M. Tamayo will be presenting this topic at your service 24/7, showing you are some of my commendations and recognitions in the police service. To start with, what is an entrapment operation? Accordingly, it is a legal law enforcement operation where the police resorts to ways and means in order to capture or arrest a perpetrator in the act of committing a crime. Very, very clear. As highlighted in color blue, entrapment operation is illegal. It is lawful. It is sanctioned by the law enforcement agency, not only by the PNP, but also the NBI, the PDEA, and other law enforcement agencies for that matter. It is legal, no? It is allowed by law. And to illustrate further, a police pusher buyer was able to buy illegal drugs from a suspect pusher. As simple as that. No? The police officer resorted into a valid way in order to capture a person who is actually committing a crime in flagrante delicto. As simple as that. Entrapment operation, laging tatandaan, lawful, legal, valid. On the other hand, instigation is unlawful, illegal act where a law enforcer induces an innocent person into committing an offense for the purpose of arresting the latter. Here, the police officer nag-shortcut, nagmadali, ayaw niyang dumaan sa proseso. No, that's why in instigation, the criminal mind or the criminal intent originated from the law enforcer. No, he did not perform the proper way of executing the arrest of a person. Hence, he induces, persuaded, or convinced an innocent person into committing an offense with an end in view of arresting him after delivering the loot or a contraband. No? And again, for the illustration, a rogue cop induces Cardo, who happened to be an ex-convict or turned asset, to look for someone who will buy 100 grams of shabu from the rogue cops, who in turn, no, after delivering the same and after finding someone who could afford to buy such grams of shabu, the rogue cops arrested them and the person buying the illegal drugs, which is other term for sell bus. In here, no, sabi nga natin, the criminal mind was came, no, the criminal mind came from the rogue cops. They induced, persuaded, convinced an innocent person from committing an offense, and then later on they arrested that innocent person. No? So instigation, again, simple. The only thing that you will remember here is that this is not allowed by law. This is illegal. This is unlawful. And later on, we will discuss further. We will discuss side by side the differences between entrapment and instigation. One thing is clear for now, that entrapment is a lawful operation while instigation is unlawful. What are the elements of instigation from the aforesaid scenario and definitions? We have come up with two elements. Number one element of instigation, the law enforcer induced, persuaded, and tricked a person to instigate him to commit a crime. Ininduce niya, no, tinrick niya or nilinlang niya yung isang inosenteng tao para gumawa ng krimen, para sundin yung kagustuhan ng pulis. And then later on, no, huhulihin, aarestuhin, ikukulong, sasampahan ng reklamo, kaso. Number two element, the criminal intent originated to the mind of the law enforcer and not to the innocent person. As I have said earlier, in instigation, wala namang intensyon gumawa ng masama yung civilian. Ha? Nangyari lamang na siya ay nautusan nung pulis na gawin ang isang bagay, no? O sabihin na natin for good faith dahil pulis ang kanyang kausap, no? At naniniwala siyang mabuti ang hangarin ng pulis, no? So he did what he was told to by the police officer, not knowing later on that he will be arrested and implicated or charged with a crime. So these are the elements of instigation. The law enforcer induce an innocent person into committing a crime. And number two, the criminal intent originated from the mind of the law enforcer. Question: what if Cardo does not know that the person instigating him is a law enforcer? Pulis pala, hindi alam ni Cardo na pulis pala yung kanya yung nag-utos sa kanya na maghanap ng buyer ng shabu. So anong mangyayari? What would be the implication? So if Cardo does not know that the person instigating him is a law enforcer, no, civilian pala, no, this is not a case of instigation. Rather, Cardo and the civilian who induced him will be held liable for violation of Republic Act number 9165. They will be both criminally liable. If Cardo and the other person committed the crime punishable under the RPC, then it's a clear case of inducement. No, they might be held liable as um, principal by inducement, yung nag-utos kay Cardo, and si Cardo naman is liable as principal by direct participation. Diba? So, again, if Cardo does not know that the person instigating him is a law enforcer, it is not a case of instigation. So therefore, they will be held liable under the law. So what is the effect of instigation? What is the effect if Cardo, no, uh, simply obeyed the instruction or the the order of a certain police officer, no, to look for buyer of shabu, no? What will happen? What is the effect? Actually, instigation is an absolutory cause. It operates as an exempting circumstance. And we know that an exempting circumstance, in exempting circumstance rather, there is a crime, but there is no criminal. So therefore, the actor or the offender is not criminally liable. So that is the implication or the effect of instigation. So ulitin natin, what is the effect of instigation? Sa mga magte-take ng board examination, tandaan nyo, it is an absolutory cause or it operates as an exempting circumstances. There is no crime, but there is crime, but there is no criminal. And the offenders are exempted from criminal liability. Tandaan po natin yan. So, this one, no, is in relation or in consonance with the maxim in criminal law, which states that actus non facit reum nisi mens sit rea, or simply the act cannot be criminal where the mind is not criminal. And this Latin maxim is actually applicable only in felonies characterized by dolo. And we know naman what is dolo. Dolo is intentional felony. And intentional felony or dolo has three elements: freedom, intelligence, and intent. And in instigation, it presupposes that there is no intent on the part of the innocent person to commit a crime. It just so happened that he was induced into committing a crime by the police officer. So again, uh, as highlighted in red, no, this Latin maxim is not applicable where the felony is a culpable felony or an intentional felony. This maxim is not an absolute one because it is not applied to culpable felonies or those that result from negligence. Ayan na nga. So, tandaan po natin yan, ha? So, clearly, no, to recap, eto na, to sum up what we have already discussed, entrapment versus instigation. In entrapment, it is considered illegal, a lawful police operation sanctioned by the operational procedures of the different law enforcement agencies. Whereas in instigation, it is unlawful, illegal, hindi yan pinapayagan, no? It is just being committed by those rogue law enforcers, no? Yung mga gusto shortcut, ayaw i-proper yung execution. Okay? Basta lang may ma-accomplish, may ma-present, may maibida, okay na. Okay? So it is unlawful and illegal. Again, in entrapment, the law enforcer devises ways and means to capture the offender in flagrante delicto. Nangyayari na yung krimen. Ang gagawin na lang ng pulis ay gagawa ng paraan para mahuli niya, in the act of committing the crime or in flagrante delicto. Caught in the act. Whereas in instigation, ito, nilinlang mo, pinwersa o ininduce mo, ano ba yung ininduce, no? Kinumbinsi, no? Tinulak mo yung inosenteng tao to commit crime for the purpose of arresting him, no? For purposes of accomplishment, no? You induce an innocent person. So that is illegal and unlawful. Next, the crime for entrapment, the crime is already happening or being committed. As I have said earlier, the crime is already happening. Nangyayari na. Nandyan na. No? Kahit wala kang gawin, yung crime is already there. Tulad nga dun sa example natin earlier, even though the person would not sell you the illegal drugs, the mere fact that he possesses the same constitute a crime already under 9165, Section 11, or possession of dangerous drugs. Di ba? So the crime is already happening or being committed. And again, for the end time, you only need to capture him in flagrante delicto. In instigation, the lawman conceived, no, the criminal intent originated from his mind, no, the criminal intent, and suggested it to the offender. Ayan. In entrapment, lastly, it is not an absolutory cause. The offender, of course, is lawfully arrested and he will be prosecuted accordingly. Okay? In instigation, the offender will avail the benefit of exempting circumstances because it is an absolutory cause. There is a crime, but there is no criminal. There is no criminal intent, no, which is lacking in the elements of intentional felony or dolo. So therefore, the offender is exempted from criminal liability. So ayan po, that's about it. That's the summary of the differences between entrapment and instigation. Buy bust and sell bust. Alam nyo na yan kung saan yun dyan. Siyempre, yung buy bust falls under entrapment and sell bust naman is instigation. Maraming salamat po. Hopefully, I was able to give you some information or additional information as regards our topic.